Hey there guys, and welcome to another episode of History Behind the Warrior. My name is Vulcan and I'm here to teach you the history of Kenshi today. Now, much like my other videos, spoilers ahead, so you have been warned. And just another heads up, I want to say thank you for getting me this far on my channel. I've hit about 300 subscribers. Let's keep going strong, guys. Pre-Mortal Kombat. Kenshi was a born warrior, with a legendary descendancy he did not yet know. Kenshi's fighting skills were so high that he ended up travelling Earthrealm to fight the strongest warriors possible to help improve his skills. However, one day, Kenshi encountered a man named Song. Song would praise Kenshi and his capabilities, and would say that a powerful warrior would deserve an equally powerful weapon. Intrigued by this, Kenshi followed Song to a well. Song said to Kenshi that there was a sword within the well that would benefit his fighting skills. Kenshi ran over to the well where the sword laid. Upon opening the well, he was overwhelmed by souls trapped within and permanently blinded him. It was at this point that Song revealed himself to actually be Shang Tsung, who had tricked Kenshi just to open up the well to absorb the souls within to become stronger. Blind and left for dead, Kenshi was left to rot in the tomb. Although near death, Kenshi found out that there was a sword in the tomb, and its name was Sento. Sento attracted Kenshi and spoke to him, leading him from the tomb and revealed his actual origin. Sento spoke to Kenshi, revealing that Sento belonged to his great ancestors. The well where the sword was laid was a sacred resting place for the soul of all of Kenshi's ancestors, but as we all know now, Shang Tsung had taken them all away. Bitter about being deceived by Shang Tsung, Kenshi spent the next decade training his senses to their peak physical abilities. Little fact is that Kenshi isn't part of the original trilogy. He was actually a new character that was introduced around Deadly Alliance when the game started to go in a completely different direction, and it wasn't even a 2D fighting game, it became a 3D fighting game. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. It didn't take long for anyone to realise Kenshi's special abilities, and eventually Jax and Sonya Blade recruited him. Wishing to confront Shang Tsung for his betrayal, he easily obliged to join the Special Forces. After going through many tests and examinations, he was accepted to join the Outer World Investigation Agency. Kenshi's first assignment was to find the lost Cyrax, another agent of the Special Forces. This would lead him to travel to Outworld, where he found Ermac. Ermac was left a walking zombie after Shao Kahn was killed. In a moment of pity, Kenshi would sever his link to Shao Kahn. Ermac was grateful and decided to teach Kenshi the telekinetic slam. Later, Kenshi would discover the Deadly Alliance and their plans, but was unable to contact the Outer World Investigation Agency due to Su Hao blowing the place up. Unknown to Kenshi was the fact that the Deadly Alliance knew of his presence in Outworld and sent Movado to kill him. Movado confronted Kenshi and defeated the blind swordsman, in which he was then left for dead. Mortal Kombat Deception. Sub-Zero found the dying Kenshi and nursed him back to health. Because of Sub-Zero's sympathy, Kenshi forged a temporary alliance with Sub-Zero to find a portal back home. Who knew that the two would become very good allies with each other in the future? After Shang Tsung's death upon Onaga's return, Kenshi sensed the souls of his ancestors returning to his blade. With his quest for vengeance now over, he relinquished his alliance with the Special Forces and the Lin Kuei, becoming a lone warrior. Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Returning to Earthrealm under the guidance of his ancestor's sword, he would hunt down the corrupt. Kenshi would strike in the night unseen to the naked eye. During his crusade, Kenshi was able to overthrow several criminal organizations. He eventually intercepted a coded message sent to Movado and learned of the Red Dragon's plans to capture the Edenian half-god known as Taven. Before he could decipher the location of the secret base, Kenshi would then encounter Johnny Cage, who was gathering warriors to help the forces of light against the fallen elder god Shinnok and his forces of darkness. However, Kenshi declined his offer, considering this another pointless struggle between good and evil. While embarking on his mission to destroy the Red Dragon clan and exact revenge on Movado, Kenshi would receive psychic premonitions, becoming fully aware of Taven and Dagon's quest to defeat the fire elemental Blaze. Sento urged him to side with the forces of light in the forthcoming conflict. Listening to Sento, Kenshi decides that he will be the one to lead the forces of light into battle. During the Battle of Armageddon, we see Kenshi kill Shiva while climbing the Pyramid of Argus. Arriving closer to the top, he proceeds to fight Kenshi, who is victorious over him. Lying on the ground defeated, Kenshi was then finished by Shang Tsung. Now once more we do come to the end of the original timeline, with actually Kenshi being canon dead in that timeline. So luckily now we come to the reboot. Now I will let everyone know that in this timeline he isn't really introduced properly into MK9, he's actually put in as a DLC. But his history is practically exactly the same. Shang Tsung betrayed him with the whole Sento issue, so nothing really changes around there and he still wants Shang Tsung's head on a pike. Mortal Kombat X. Kenshi first appears in the story mode of Mortal Kombat X in Johnny Cage's chapter. He's seen alongside both Sonya and Johnny as they make their way to the Sky Temple in order to stop Shinnok on the helicopter. However, they are ambushed by Scorpion and a revenant Sub-Zero. Kenshi pushes Scorpion out of the chopper along with himself and just survived by impaling Sento into the side of the helicopter. He's then seen using his telekinesis to throw out the revenant Sub-Zero in the helicopter, in which then the chopper does crash. After Johnny Cage defeats Scorpion and Sub-Zero, he along with Sonya and Johnny make their way to the Sky Temple. On their journey, Kenshi and the others would run into undead revenant versions of Jax and Smoke. After being caught by Nightwolf, Kenshi goes off to fight the demons with the Special Forces squad, while Johnny and Sonya fight Jax and Smoke. Whilst in the cave, Kenshi's sword Sento would help him find the portal needed to enter the Sky Temple. Kenshi, Johnny and Sonya arrive just in time to help both Raiden and Fujin, however they are all knocked down except Johnny Cage, who defeats Shinnok single-handedly. After Shinnok is defeated, he notices Johnny smiling despite Kenshi's escape and asks why, in which Johnny Cage replies to him with this:
"She called me Johnny."
Now after this we become aware that there is an issue with the Revenants where they do become humans, and Kenshi is the one to nurse Hanzo back to health and help him get over Scorpion. But now we're going to jump into the comic book since it will help bridge the game and the comic books together well. We learn that he is sided with the Special Forces and has been assigned with the task of infiltrating the Red Dragon. We also learn that Kenshi assisted Hanzo Hasashi in recovering from his Scorpion persona. Whilst infiltrating the Red Dragon, Kenshi was hoping to track down Dagon, but his cover was blown and was forced on the run. He was later told by Sonya Blade of the existence of his son, Takeda Takahashi, and that the Red Dragons were threatening his life as well as the life of his mother, Su-Chin. Knowing that Takeda was really his son, Kenshi made for Langpang, Thailand, where the boy and his mother were, but unfortunately he arrived too late. Su-Chin had been killed, however he was still able to find his son, Takeda. Still on the run, Kenshi head for the Shirai Ryu territory in hopes of luring the pursuing Red Dragons into a trap. Kenshi just managed to make it with Takeda, however, they were attacked. Despite using his telekinesis and Sento to block the majority of the arrows, he was struck in the leg by one of them and forced to make a last stand against Su Hao. Su Hao mocked Kenshi for running and prepped to deliver the final blow, but suddenly Scorpion would appear before Su Hao and swiftly dispatch of him. In other words, blow a massive hole in his face. After dispatching of the Red Dragon forces, Hanzo would take Kenshi and Takeda to the Shirai Ryu temple. Kenshi is ultimately shocked at the size of the newly revived Shirai Ryu and begins explaining to Hanzo how all of this transpired. Later that night, he is seen putting Takeda to bed. Kenshi tries to soothe his son's worries and fears towards Scorpion, but Takeda makes it clear that he does not trust his father after he ran away from his mother, Su-Chin. Later, Kenshi would speak with Hanzo about finishing his mission to find Dagon. Kenshi would also ask Hanzo to teach his son and guide him off the path of vengeance. Hanzo tells Kenshi lying to his son will only make him hate him more. However, Kenshi brushes this off and departs the next morning, leaving his son with Hanzo Hasashi. Mortal Kombat X. 20 years later, after last seeing Takeda, Kenshi appears to greet his son. However, Takeda is simply angered to see his father return, and ultimately fights his own father. Takeda defeats Kenshi, in which Kenshi then reveals the truth about Su-Chin's death at the hands of the Red Dragon. Takeda is confused and angered by this, but Kenshi replies that he could not risk Takeda going against his mother's killers fully unprepared. He then reveals to Takeda his ability of telepathy, Kenshi tells Takeda that Hanzo Hasashi has perfected his fighting skills and that he had come to complete his training and that he and Takeda would then hunt down the Red Dragon together. He's later seen in the story talking to Takeda after his encounter with Sub-Zero, telling his son telepathically that he should not worry about it. Kenshi is later seen in the Netherrealm along with Jax and Serena to help hunt down and capture Quan Chi. The Special Forces ambush Quan Chi and his Revenant servants but suffer casualties. Kenshi is then forced to fight Cabal. Afterward, he is injured with his confrontation and Jack insists that he will capture Quan Chi himself. Naturally, Kenshi and Serena are against this, but Jax goes regardless and is actually successful with capturing Quan Chi. After Quan Chi is captured, Kenshi and Johnny lock him up with a discussion about the Vura's whereabouts. Suddenly Hanzo Hasashi arrives, surprising Kenshi. Hanzo demands that the Special Forces hand him Quan Chi. When Sonya Blade refuses, Hanzo orders the Shirai Ryu to attack. As Hanzo goes to Quan Chi, Kenshi stops him temporarily with his telepathy, but is overrun by the Shirai Ryu. Kenshi tries to reason with Hanzo to not kill Quan Chi, but fails and is captured along Sonya and Johnny Cage. After Quan Chi is dead, he witnesses Shinnok's release. Kenshi, Sonya and Johnny try to stop him but are quickly knocked out and Shinnok leaves for the Sky Temple with Johnny Cage. And this is unfortunately the last we actually see of Kenshi. There's no talk about what happens to him, he's not even seen with the Special Forces during the end of the game. But Kenshi has finally been done and it was quite a bit of work to get this all sorted out. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. The next one will actually be Liu Kang. I don't know about you guys if you can agree with me, but I think that Kenshi is a very underutilized character because he's a really cool character. Come on, a blind swordsman, how could you not find that cool? Anyway guys, this is going to sum it up. The next few videos, it's going to be Liu Kang, Reptile, and I'll decide what comes afterwards. It's most likely going to be Ermac or one of the two Edenian sisters known as Katana and Melina. So take your pick, put it down in the comments below which one you think's more popular. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe and like.